ain't that explicit. But this ain't talking about drinking no water.
It's talking about the HO weed.
She out there giving it up.
Come.
Y'all see him on Fig?
Come. Yep.
I thought Fig had died. I passed down there because I had to do a job. Man, them hoes stretch from downtown all the way to Imperial now.
Yep. It's
Just
like
hoeing. It's worse than Hollywood.
Come.
Because you got every race out there now. You go out there, it's like 20 white hoes, 20 black hoes, 20 Latino hoes. Like, dang, Chinese out there, everything, man. Like, wow. But that's because of we ain't correcting our people.
Come.
And it said the whoredoms would destroy a nation. We know America is destroyed. Because from the White House to the pimp house in the hood, they whore. And that brings destruction on our nation because ain't no correction. Yep. They even got females getting rich off the OnlyFans.
Yep.
Yep. That's on Facebook. It's crazy because Facebook will delete your righteous program, and they allow all these whores to be on here soliciting all day. But we got to correct our people to get out of this. So go ahead, let's finish this.
Verse 12, she will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he hath found a fountain, and drink of every water near her. By every hedge will she sit down, and open her quiver against every arrow.
So the arrows, that's talking about a man's rod. Just like the whores out there, man. She just giving it up without that correction. This how our daughters would be. This how our wives would be. Because it happened according to the scriptures. But with that, let's go here now. Let's go to Titus. Chapter 2, I'm on 3 and 5. Because we have righteous women in Israel, and we have righteous women in Israel that are elders that the younger women can go to as a good example. Let's take Mary for an example. Right? Because you have younger women that be like, I've been through that before. I don't relate with them. These same women that you look at as your elders, they were young once too. Some of them probably were even more foolisher than you.
Yep.
But now they conduct themselves in righteousness because they got this law, which is a beautiful thing. But go ahead.
Titus 2 and verse 6.
Titus chapter 2, and I want to start at 3.
Titus chapter 2 and verse 3. The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness.
Mm-hmm. So this is what's happening right now. Go ahead.
Not false accusers.
Because remember, they was in the streets too. Because this ain't talking about the young women, it's talking about the aged women. That's why I said the older women was once young too. And they was out there dibbling, dabbling in the world. Right? Go ahead.
Not given to much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands.
Wait, hold up. Is that what's being taught in the world today?
Girl, do you.
Yep. Do you be a homosexual? Gender change. Man, I seen that. It was disgusting. Shamar shared that today. They had gender exchange day at the school. You had like 20 brothers, high school students, all these boys in females' clothes.
Out here?
No, I wasn't out here. Oh, they did do it out here? Oh, for Spirit Week? Wow, I didn't even know that. But that's America. We got to teach the men to be men and the women to be women and to be lovers of their husbands and their children at home. That's why these scriptures are important for our correction. But go ahead.
That they may teach the younger women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children.
Because the women today don't love their children. I seen on Instagram they was allowing this little boy, he couldn't have been nothing but 4 years old, to smoke a blunt. And they was sitting there cheering him on and praising him. And he had a bottle of Hennessy in his hand. That stuff was tearing that little boy up, but they was praising him. So he was taking it because he thought it was cool for him to do. But go ahead.
Verse 5, to be discreet, chaste.
To not always be in everybody's face. to be discreet and chaste. Go ahead.
keepers at home,
Keepers at home, not being a busybody, going everywhere, trying to do everything, right? Trying to be amongst everybody all the time. If your house ain't order, you need to be at home. Go ahead.
good,
Mm-hmm.
obedient to their own husbands.
Nah, to the homie's husband.
Obedient to their own husbands.
To their uncle's husband.
To their own husbands.
So they got to be obedient unto their own husband, because that happens a lot.
Come.
Sisters come in the truth, and they feel like another man has more scriptural knowledge than their husband, which some of them do. But they don't even listen to the little instruction that their husband gave them, which is completely out of order.
Come.
That's why I said be obedient unto your own husband, right? Go ahead.
That the word of the Most High be not blasphemed.
So if a woman is out of order and she claiming to be an Israelite woman, through her actions, she blasphemed the word of the Most High. But if she's a righteous woman, that won't happen. So with that, let's go here. Let's go to Colossians 3. Colossians chapter 3, verse 1. We're going to read 1 through 11.
Colossians chapter 3 and verse 1. If ye then be risen with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ sitteth on the right hand of the Most High. Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth.
Because we have a lot of women. They come into this truth and they still chasing the things of the world. The Most High said, if you be lovers of the world, you are enemy to me. That's why he's saying, think on the things above. Like, we in perilous times right now. Yeah, the Most High give us a little liberty to have a little fun, but not all the time, y'all. Not all the time. So with that, let's go to Ephesians 5. That was 1 and 2, right? Let's go to Ephesians 5, and I want 9 and 12. Because we got to set our affections on the thing above, which is the fruits of the Spirit. So Ephesians chapter 5, I want 9 through 12. You know my script? We got that new Bible. Forgive my man, he got that new Bible. It's hard to flip them pages.
It's fresh.
Yeah.
Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 9. For the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth.
So this is the fruit of the Spirit that we supposed to have. In righteousness and goodness and in truth. Because truth is the keeping of the law, right? Go ahead.
Proving what is acceptable unto the Lord.
So how are we going to prove what's acceptable unto the Lord? By doing what he say do. By keeping his laws, his statutes, and his covenant. Go ahead.
And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness.
Do we want to have fellowship with that darkness? The world? Go ahead. Nope.
But rather reprove them.
So we're supposed to reprove one another. We got to reprove those who are walking in darkness. That's why I love the sisterhood. I love the brotherhood. Go ahead. Verse 12.
Verse 12. For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret.
So the things that's done in secret, it's a shame to speak of. Why is that? Because those things destroy the nation. They destroy the fabric of your home, of your relationship, when you go outside of these laws. So with that, let's get Galatians 5 and 22. Because this is how we are to operate in the fruits of the Spirit. Go ahead.
Galatians chapter 5, verse 22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love,
So what is love? The keeping of the law, the commandments, right?
Joy,
So it's joy. It's going to bring joy, right? Go ahead.
peace,
We're going to have peace with one another, right?
long suffering,
So long suffering. When things happen, you can't be quick to dismiss somebody. Because some of us sin 40 years, 30 years, 20 years, 1 year against the Most High, right? So he was long suffering for a long time, right? Because when you come into the truth, you was 19. That's 19 years of sinning because you didn't know the law, right? You see how long suffering the Most High was? I didn't come in the truth till I was 36. I can get put to death at any time. The Most High can be like, you know what? I want to pull this brother card just because he did this way back when. We be so quick to dismiss one another. But the fruits of the Spirit is long suffering. Go to your brother and correct one another. That's why the husband's job is to correct his wife. Right? Go ahead.
gentleness,
It's gentleness. Can't be mean, just handling people any old kind of way. And what I mean by that is talking harsh to somebody just because you feel like they don't have a higher echelon or status like you. You got to be gentle with all people, right? Go ahead.
goodness, faith. Against such there is no law.
So when we doing all that, ain't no law against that because you're doing what thus saith the Lord.
Salakia. Meekness, temperance, and against such there is no law.
So with that, let's go back to Colossians. I want chapter 3. I want 3 through 18.
Colossians chapter 3 and verse 3. For ye are dead, and your life is hid with Christ in God.
So our life is hid with Christ in the Most High. Because how did he die for us? On the cross. He gave his life for us so that we may live. So when we kill that old man, we dead and we live in Christ now. Because he was the ultimate sacrifice for our lives. Right? Go ahead.
When Christ, who is our life, shall appear, then shall ye also appear with him in glory. Mortify, therefore, your members which are upon the earth.
So he's saying, mortify your members which are on life. What is mortar called? What does it represent? Christ? Okay, this guy works in cement. They mortify the ground to make it smooth, flat, so it's not raggedy or tore up, right? So you can even, like the cement, the sidewalk out there, you could easily walk over it. They mortified it. So he's saying stable yourself, right? Your life, right? Go ahead.
Mortify, therefore, your members which are upon earth. Fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry.
So get rid of all those things, right? Go ahead.
For which things' sake the wrath of the Most High cometh on the children of disobedience.
So that came on us through our disobedience. But now let's see what's happening. Go ahead.
In the which ye also walked sometime when ye lived in them.
So he's saying we walked in these things before in the uncorrection of our lives. Go ahead.
But now ye also put off all things, anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, filthy communication out of your mouth.
So this also happens between husband and wives as well. All this unfilthiness and the uncleanness happens in our relationships when we allow them to just fester and the husband's not checking his wife or the wife not checking the husband when either one of them are going off, right? Y'all know about Jezebel, right? Her husband, he started off righteous. But that wicked woman came in and destroyed his whole reign as a king of Israel. But go ahead.
Lie not one to another, seeing that ye have put off the old man.
So tell the truth one to another. You got an issue, get it over with. And all it takes is somebody lowering their pride, y'all coming together and getting rid of that. Right? Go ahead.
With his deeds. and have put on the new man,
So we got to put on this new man, being living in the fruits of the Spirit. Go ahead.
which is renewed in knowledge after the image of him that created him,
Who created us? Yahawashi and the Most High, right? Go ahead.
where there is neither Greek nor Jew, circumcision nor uncircumcision, barbarian, Scythian, bond nor free, but Christ is all and in all.
So ain't no African Americans. Christ is in us all right now, right? Because we was giving them false names, right? But go ahead.
But on therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering, forbearing one another and forgiving one another.
Because that's a hard thing in the relationships today. One person is willing to forgive and the other one is not willing to forgive. And that right there puts a strain on the relationship even longer because somebody's prideful. So we have to forgive one another in our relationships, right? Go ahead.
If any man having quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye.
So we got to do the same thing because Christ is our ensample, bro. Go ahead.
And above all these things, put on charity, which is the bond of perfectness.
Go ahead.
And let the peace of the Most High rule in your hearts, to the which also ye are called in one body, and be ye thankful.
Isn't the husband and the wife called to be one body, one flesh? So that's how we're going to be thankful one to another if we keep the laws. But go ahead.
Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and in hymns and in spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts to the Lord. And whatsoever ye do, in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord, Yahawashi,
So we got to do it all in the name of the Most High and Yahawashi, right? Go ahead.
giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by him. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands.
So there you go again. So it's important that the wives submit themselves to their own husbands. Go ahead.
Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as it is fit in the Lord.
So it's a fit thing in the Lord for this to happen. Because what's the order between a man and a woman? Is the woman the head or the man the head? The man is the head. Who's the head over the man? Christ. Who's the head over Christ, of Yahawashi? The Most High. So that's the pecking order, right? So with that, let's go here. Let's go to 1 John 3. 3 and 1. We're going to read 1 through 11.
First John chapter 3 and verse 1. Behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of the Most High.
So that love is the keeping of the law. That's the love that he bestowed on us. These are our instructions that we are given today. Go ahead.
Therefore the world knoweth us not, because it knew him not.
Do the
Beloved.
world want to keep the Most High's laws? No, they don't. But go ahead.
Beloved, now are we the sons of the Most High, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be, but we know what, when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And every man that hath this hope in him purifieth himself, even as he is pure.
Go ahead.
Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law.
So when we sin, we don't obey, or the women don't obey their husbands, or the men don't obey the Most High. That's transgression of the law, right? But go ahead.
And ye know that he was manifest to take away your sins, and in him is no sin.
So there is no sin in Christ. But go ahead.
Whosoever abideth in him sinneth not. Whosoever sinneth have not seen him, neither known him. Little children, let no man deceive you. He that doth righteousness is righteous.
So if your husband is doing righteous, he's righteous. He's not breaking any laws. If your wife is righteous, she's righteous. She's not breaking any laws. Right? But go ahead.
Even as he is righteous. He that committeth sin is of the devil, for the devil sinned from the beginning. For this purpose the Son of God was manifest, that he might destroy the works of the devil.
So he destroyed the works of the devil by him giving his life for us, right? But go ahead.
Whosoever is born of the Most High doth not commit sin, for his seed remaineth in him, and he cannot sin, because he is born of the Most High.
You need another mic. So when we commit sin, we going back to our devilish ways, and we have not put off that old man. But go ahead, Slow.
Check. In this, the children of the Most High are manifest, and the children of the devil, whosoever doeth not righteousness, is not of the Most High.
So do we want our relationships to resemble not being of the Most High? No, we don't. We want them to resemble the Most High in Yahawashi. Because the women always say, I love Christ, but will disobey their husband. And Christ said, you are to see your husband as you see me. And we're going to get that scripture. But go ahead,
Neither he that loveth not his brother, for this is the message that ye heard from the beginning.
So this message was given to us from the beginning. With that, let's go to Sirach 3. Sirach 37 and 12. Because this is how we are to be amongst each other.
Check.
Sirach chapter 37 and verse 12.
Sirach chapter 37. Mic too hot.
Go ahead.
Sirach chapter 37 and verse 12. But be continually with a godly man.
So women are to be continuously with a godly man. If your husband is a godly man, don't give him no slack. Don't pop off at the mouth, make it hard on yourself, make it grievous for him. Right? Go ahead.
Whom thou knowest to keepeth the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry.
So he gonna sorrow with you when you miscarry. It ain't always talking about miscarriage when miscarrying a baby, but it's when you make mistakes. When you do things that's not right according to these laws. He gonna help you. He gonna be there to correct you. He gonna be the one that's praying to the Most High for you. Because the scripture says the fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. Some of you women got righteous husbands and y'all be nagging. Because you don't want to do what you're supposed to be doing. But let's buckle down together, y'all. But go ahead. So with that, let's go here. Let's go to Sirach 26 and 26.
Sirach chapter 26 and verse 26. A woman that honoreth her husband shall be judged wise of all.
So if you honor your husband, you're going to be judged wise of all. Just take heed to the word he's saying. Whether he know a lot of the scriptures or a little of the scriptures, he's there to correct you. He's there to give you righteous guidance according to the law. Go ahead.
But she that dishonoreth him in her pride shall be counted ungodly of all.
Of the sinners, right? It says you're going to be counted ungodly of all. That's a worse place to be in. You saying you in the truth and you dishonoring your husband. And the Most High put you in a place where he put the ungodly. He said you're going to be more ungodly of them all. So
he said dishonor him in her pride. So a lot of times it just be pride.
Yep.
And then if you just check your pride right then and there or just walk away and come back,
Yep.
it won't go that far.
So with that, let's go to Sirach 12 and 2.
Sirach 12 and 2.
Just a few chapters over.
Sirach chapter 12 and verse 2. Do good to the godly man.
So the Most High is telling you who to do good to. A lot of the wives have good husbands, right? But go ahead.
Do good to the godly man, and thou shalt find a recompense.
So who's going to give you that recompense?
And if not from him, yet from the Most High.
The Most High, he going to give you something. He going to give you that good reward. Right? So with that, let's go here. Let's see it. Let's get a few examples of a righteous woman with a foolish husband, and a righteous husband with a foolish woman. Let's get this right quick. Let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 6, 14 through 23. Second Samuel chapter 6, verse 14. Because we're going to see how both of these women dealt in these instances with their husbands.
Verse 14?
Correct. 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 14.
2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 14. And these be the names of those that were born unto him in Jerusalem: Shammua, and Shabab, and Nathan, and Solomon. Ibar also, and Elisha.
Hold up, bud. 2 Samuel chapter 6 and 14. You in 1 Samuel?
I'm in 2 Samuel.
No, 2 Samuel 6 and 14.
Oh, Salakia.
Yeah.
2 Samuel chapter 6 and verse 14. And David danced before the Lord.
So this is David, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Israel. He recovered the Ark of the Covenant. This is why he danced before the Lord. But go ahead.
And David danced before the Lord with all his might. And David was girded with a linen ephod. So David and all his house of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with shouting and with the sound of the trumpet.
So here you have a righteous man. He's bringing up the ark of the Lord. He's singing, he's shouting, he's dancing before his congregation. All of his people, right? Go ahead.
And as the ark of the Lord came into the city of David, Michal, Saul's daughter, looked through a window and saw King David leaping and dancing before the Lord.
So this is David's wife, right? Go ahead.
And she despised him in her heart.
So she hated him she hated her husband David in her heart while he's praising the Most High. That's not a good space to be in, ladies. Jealous over your husband because he's praising the Most High. We're going to see how she got dealt with. Go ahead.
And they brought in the ark of the Lord and set it in his place, and in the midst of the tabernacle that David had pitched for it. And David offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord. Mm-hmm. And as soon as David had made an end of the offering burnt offerings and peace offerings, he blessed the people in the name of the Lord of hosts.
So here you have the king. He blessing the people in the name of the Most High. The Most High was the host of that gathering for them, right? Go ahead.
And he dealt among all the people, even among the whole multitude of Israel, as well as the women as men. Mm-hmm. To every one a cake of bread and a good piece of flesh and a flagon of wine. So all the people departed, every one to his house.
So here you have a big celebration. David is celebrating the Most High and bringing the ark home, right? And he giving the people everything. He dancing with them, being a part of them. But his wife despised him at that point. But go ahead, let's see what happened.
Then David returned to bless his household.
So now he coming to bless his own household. Let's see what happened when he comes to bless his household. Go ahead.
And Michal, the daughter of Saul, came out to meet David and said, How glorious was the king of Israel today, who uncovered himself today in the eyes of the handmaids and of his servants, as one of the vain fellows shamelessly uncovered himself.
So she was despising him at this point, putting him down. He did a glorious thing for the Most High, and she mad. That happened to some of the brothers in here. Brothers go out street teaching, doing the work of the Lord, and they come home to their wives, and the wives is mad because they've been out all day raising up the nation in the name of the Most High. But all praises, y'all ain't get the punishment that this woman got. Because finish reading. Go ahead.
And David said unto Michal, it was before the Lord which chose me before thy father.
Because her father was wicked. Right? Go ahead.
And before all his house, to appoint me ruler over the people of the Lord, over Israel. Therefore will I play before the Lord. And I will yet be more vile than thus.
So now he giving her words back. Go ahead.
And I will yet be more vile than thus, and will be base in my own sight, and of the maid servants which thou hast spoken of them shall I be had in honor.
Because other women and men will honor your husband for doing the work of the Lord, but the women be despising their husbands for doing the work of the Lord. So he like, I'm going to go out and do it. It's the work of the Lord, and they're going to honor me for doing it. Right? Go ahead.
Therefore, Michal, the daughter of Saul, had no children until the day of her death.
He didn't deal with her no more. It was that easy for him not to deal with her no more. And she went childless. Haven't y'all ever heard the Mexican proverb? You're not a woman if you don't have children. You know how hurtful that is for a woman not to have children? That was a hurtful thing for her. Remember Rachel and Leah, they were fighting over having intercourse with their husbands so they could have babies. And then when the Most High shut their womb, guess what they did? Here you go, my handmaid, take her. Let her have babies for you, for me. So that was a hurtful thing for Michal to go through. But she despised him at that point. And that was her punishment for the rest of her life. She went childless. That's why it's important that the women love their husbands, love him as Yahawashi loved the church. That's why it's important for y'all to do that.
And David knew where the jealousy was coming from, because she named the maid servants, and then she named his servants and everything. But David said, he said, and I will be more base in my own sight, and of these maid servants, which thou hast spoken of them shall I be in honor. So he said, I'm going to have honor with them. If you don't want to honor me, they going to honor me. So he said, look, you ain't going to have no babies. I'm not giving you no children. So, you know, sisters got to really take heed to that.
So with that, let's go to 1 Samuel 25. We're going to read 1 through 42. And some of it we're going to skip through for the sake of time. But 1 Samuel
25 and 1.
25 and 1.
1 Samuel chapter 25 and verse 1. And Samuel died, and all of the Israelites were gathered together and lamented him and buried him in his house at Ramah. And David arose and went down to the wilderness of Paran. And there was a man in Mahan whose possessions were in Carmel. And the man was very great, and he had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats. And he was shearing his sheep in Carmel.
So here you have a rich man, right? But go ahead. Let's see who this rich man was.
Now the name of the man was Nabal, and the name of his wife Abigail.
Y'all heard of Abigail, right? Now we know this story, but I want to go through it because her husband was foolish. But she didn't deal treacherously with this foolish man. She stayed in the spirit of the Most High and took care of this man no matter what, because she was playing her role so she can make it to the kingdom. Because I hear that a lot. I just want to make it to the kingdom. But are you playing your role and doing what you're supposed to do to make it to the kingdom? You kicking up dust. You being foolish. Because that attitude towards your husband, you ain't going to make it into the kingdom. And that's how serious it is with the Most High. Because we just seen what happened to David's wife, Michal. She despised him because he was doing the work of the Lord. He was praising the Most High with the children of Israel and gave them all gifts. Right? But go ahead.
And she was a woman of good understanding and of a beautiful countenance.
So she was a woman of good understanding and she was pretty. Right? Go ahead.
But the man was churlish and evil in his doings.
So this man was foolish. But he came from a righteous seed, because let's see who his father was right quick. Go ahead.
And he was of the house of Caleb.
Wasn't Caleb one of the last two to make it into the promised land? Yes, he was. So this man came from a righteous seed. But go ahead.
And David heard in the wilderness that Nabal did shear his sheep. And David sent out 10 young men. And David said unto the young men, get you up to Carmel, and go to Nabal, and greet him in my name. And thus shall ye say to him that liveth in prosperity, peace be both to thee, and peace be to thine house, and peace be unto all that thou hast. And now I have heard that thou hast shears. Now thy shepherds which were with us, we hurt them not, neither was there aught missing unto them, all the while they were in Carmel.
Let's go to verse 8. Oh, no, go ahead. You're right there already. Go ahead.
Ask thy young men, and they will show thee. Wherefore let the young men find favor in thine eyes. For we come in a good day. Give, I pray thee, whatsoever cometh to thine hand unto thy servants.
So here you have David sending his servants, because mind you, David was on the run from Saul at this point. But he sent his servants to see if Nabal would give them food, victuals, so that they could eat because they were hungry. But mind you, they were in the field and they were watching over Nabal's cattle, right? Over his goats and everything that he had, right? Go ahead.
And to thy son David. And when David's young men came, they spake to Nabal according to all those words in the name of David, and ceased. And Nabal answered David's servants and said, who is David? And who is the son of Jesse? There be many servants nowadays that break away every man from his master.
Y'all see how he answered them? He was cruel after they was out there watching after all his stuff, right? So let's drop down to verse 14 for time's sake. Go ahead.
Verse 14.
So this young man, one of David's servants, he's going to tell Abigail, Nabal's wife. Go ahead.
Verse 14. But one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, behold, David sent messengers out of the wilderness to salute our master. And he railed on them.
Like, man, what y'all want? Who is David? I don't know that fool. Right? That's a foolish man. This is the king of Israel at this point. And they was protecting y'all out in the wilderness. And you want to be hard with them. Go ahead.
But the men were very good unto us, and we were not hurt, neither missed we anything as long as we were conversing with them. When we were in the fields, they were a wall unto us both by night and day.
So David's men were protecting everything that he had, even his servants. Go ahead.
All the while we were with them keeping the sheep. Now therefore know and consider what thou wilt do. For evil is determined against our master and against all his household. For he is such a son of Belial that a man cannot speak to him.
So let's see how Nabal's wife went and dealt with David. Verse 18.
Then Abigail made haste and took 200 loaves and 2 bottles of wine and 5 sheep ready dressed and 5 measures of parched corn and 100 clusters of raisins and 200 cakes of figs and laid them on asses.
So she like, man, I gotta go because my household is in danger. Even I'm in danger because of my foolish husband. She could have been like, you know what? Let me escape this hell. I'm leaving. But she went and did the right thing even though her husband was wicked because she didn't even want him to die. She didn't want his servants to die. So she got all this food and was taking it to David, right? And his servants. Go ahead.
And she said unto her servants, go on before me. Behold, I come after you. But she told not her husband Nabal.
Because if she would have told her husband, he would have stopped her, right? But she knew the sword was coming, so she couldn't tell her husband at that time, right?
And it was so, as she rode on the ass, that she came down by the covert of the hill, and behold, David and his men came down against her, and she met them. And David had said, surely in vain have I kept all that his fellow have in the wilderness.
So he telling Abigail, in vain I kept all your husband's stuff. I did it for nothing. But go ahead.
So that nothing was missed of all that pertained unto him, and he have requited me evil for good. So and more also do God unto the enemies of David, if I leave of all that pertain to him by the morning, light any that pisseth against the wall.
See, he's like, I ain't gonna leave none of your servants. Ain't none of them gonna be able to go out and take a pee on the wall freely, none of that. Go ahead.
And when Abigail saw David, she hastened and lightened off the ass and fell before David on her face and bowed herself to the ground.
So how many of the women here would go and do this for your husband and bow before another man and take him gifts, knowing that he's gonna put your husband, got the power to put you and your husband to death and all of your household? You would do it? All praises. Because it took heart to do that. Because she didn't know how David was. He could have still been like, you know what? Nah, what he did is unforgivable. But go ahead, let's see what happened.
And fell at his feet and said, upon me, my Lord, upon me, let this iniquity be, and let thy handmaid, I pray thee, speak in thine audience, and hear the words of thine handmaid.
So she was like, man, let this fall on me.
Kill me, yep.
Don't kill my husband. Let it be on me. But go ahead.
Let not my Lord, I pray thee, regard this man of Belial, even Nabal, for as his name is, so is he. Nabal is his name, and folly is with him. Mm-hmm. But I, thine handmaid, saw not the young men of my Lord.
So she telling him what happened. Like, I didn't see the young man when he came. I would have gave him everything that y'all needed. But go ahead.
Whom thou didst send. Now therefore, my Lord, as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, seeing the Lord have withholden thee from coming to shed blood, and from avenging thyself with thine own hand, now let thine enemies and they that seek evil to my Lord be as Nabal.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And now this blessing which thy handmaid have brought unto my Lord, let it even be given unto the young men that follow my Lord. I pray thee, forgive the trespass of thine handmaid, for the Lord will certainly make my Lord a sure house.
Uh-huh. So she asking for forgiveness, and she's giving the gifts now. Go ahead.
Because my Lord fighteth the battles of the Lord, and evil have not been found in thee all thy days.
So she knew David was fighting the battles for Israel on the Most High's behalf. Go ahead.
Yet a man is risen to pursue thee, to seek thy soul, but the soul of my Lord shall be bound in the bundle of life.
Go ahead.
With the Lord thy God, and the souls of thy enemies, them shall he sling out as out of the middle of a sling. And it shall come to pass, when the Lord shall have done to my Lord according to all the good that he have spoken concerning thee, and shall have appointed thee ruler over Israel.
Let's skip down to verse 35.
Verse 35. So David received of her hand that which she had brought him, and said unto her, Go up in peace to thine house. See, I have hearkened to thy voice, and have accepted thy person.
So David accepted everything that she done. But now she had to go home and tell her husband what happened. And let's see what happened to him.
And Abigail came to Nabal, and behold, he held a feast in his house, like the feast of a king.
So he had riches. He holding feasts, all that. He could have easily fed David himself, right? Go ahead.
And Nabal's heart was merry within him, for he was very drunken. Wherefore she told him nothing, less or more, until the morning light. But it came to pass in the morning, when the wine was gone out of Nabal, and his wife had told him these things, that his heart died within him, and he became as a stone.
See how the Most High worked? All he did was tell him. She told him what was going to happen to him and what his wife did, and he died. He got fearful, just like that, and died. But she did a whole lot to save her husband. But the Most High still put him to death because of his wickedness. But y'all see how everything works? If the man is wicked, the Most High put him to death. If the woman is wicked, the Most High make you go childless or even put you to death too. So we got to love one another in these relationships here in Israel. But go ahead.
And it came to pass about 10 days after that the Lord smote Nabal, that he died. And when David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, Blessed be the Lord that hath pleaded the cause of my reproach from the hand of Nabal, and have kept his servant from evil.
Go ahead.
For the Lord hath returned the wickedness of Nabal upon his own head. And David sent and communed with Abigail to take her to him to wife.
So David knew that she was a righteous woman. He was like, man, I need her on my team. I need a woman like that. Right? Go ahead.
And when the servants of David were come to Abigail to Carmel, they spake unto her, saying, David sent us unto thee to take thee to him to wife. And she arose and bowed herself on her face to the earth, and said, Behold, let thine handmaid be a servant to wash the feet of the servants of my Lord.
Did she have to do that? Y'all see how humble she was? She was like, not only am I going to go and be this man's wife, I'm going to wash y'all feet before we leave. Right? Go ahead.
And Abigail hasted and arose and rode upon an ass with 5 damsels of hers that went after her.
So she had servants too. Did she have to go and be with David? No, but she did. But go ahead.
And she went after the messengers of David and became his wife. And David also took a Nehemiah of Jezreel.
But that's all I needed, because y'all see the parallels? A righteous man, a wicked wife. A wicked man, a righteous wife. So it goes both ways, y'all. We can't be treating each other all toe up and not thinking the Most High ain't going to deal with us. Go ahead.
Get her a mic.
Shalom, shalom.
Check.
This is getting to where you were talking about the brothers that go out and do the work.
I could barely hear you. Give her another mic.
Check.
Yeah.
I just want to say that the brothers that go out and do the work, for the wives, it is such a blessing to have a righteous man in these days. And whoever has a brother that does that, thank the Most High and be there. Be a support for him. Make his home happy. You know, show him. He has to deal with this world. You know, being a man in this world is hard for our brothers, you know. So it's important as women that we support our husbands. Well, I don't have one now, but it's important that we support our husbands.
Yep.
That's all I want to say.
God, all praises. All praises. That's what it's supposed to be.
All praises.
And then if y'all support us, we have the strength to continue to fight for y'all and fight for the nation.
Mm-hmm. So with that, let's go to Ephesians 5:13. We almost done, y'all.
Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 13. But all things that are reproved are made manifest by the light, for whatsoever doth make manifest is light. Wherefore he saith, Awake, thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall give thee light.
So let's see what that light is, because the Most High indeed has given us light in our relationship. Let's go to Proverbs 6:23.
Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 23. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is a light.
So the law is a light unto us, both men and women. That's the light that the Most High has given us. And now let's go to, finish all of that?
And reproof of instruction are the way of life.
So that's what's going to reprove us no matter what. Ladies, you got a righteous man who's trying to reprove you according to these scriptures. Just humble down, take heed, and take that correction. The same thing for the husbands as well, because that's the only thing that's going to get our nation right. So with that, let's go to John chapter 3, 21, St. John chapter 3, 20 and 21.
St. John chapter 3 and verse 20. For everyone that doeth evil have the light.
Wait, it said everyone that doeth evil hateth the light.
Hateth the light.
So you hate the correction. You hate the law when you do evil. Go ahead.
For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved.
So when we come into the truth, we asking the Most High, hey, reprove me, correct me of my wrongs. Because that's what's happening. That's what's going on when we come into the light. Go ahead.
But he that doeth truth cometh to the light.
So when you do the truth, which is the law, you coming in that light. Go ahead.
That his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in the Most High.
So it's going to be righteous in the Most High's eyes. So with that, let's go to Ephesians 5 and 15.
Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 15. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise.
So we're going to walk wisely. We're not going to be fools anymore. Go ahead.
Redeeming the time, because the days are evil.
Aren't the days evil? Any one of us can go at any time, but if we in our foolishness, we're going to be judged according to that. So we have to get right, husbands and wives. Go ahead.
And be not, wherefore be ye not unwise, but understand what the will of the Lord is. And be not drunk with wine, wherein in excess, but be filled with the Spirit, speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord.
So it's a good thing, ladies. You got to learn to speak to yourself in this truth. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be righteous. I'm not going to be wicked no more. And you can sing in psalms to the Most High, uplifting your own self, because that's what's going to bring happiness. Everything in the world, like, you're going to want shoes. I need a lot of shoes. All them shoes got. How many shoes you got, sis? With the red shoes on. How many pair of shoes you got? Huh? So you don't have much shoes, but I'm sure you got more than one pair of shoes, right? Do they all make you happy? They do? Well, okay. What about you, sis? How many pair of shoes you got? Do they all make you happy? To a certain extent, but it ain't going to keep you happy. You're going to need another pair of shoes, another fresh pair of shoes, I need another garment, I need this, I need that. That's all carnal things. But you singing, it says, speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord. That's what's going to keep you happy. Because he's the one that gives you that blue check, not Instagram. Instagram don't make you happy. Because if it did, you'd put one picture up and you'd be done. But you got to keep putting pictures. And then you see Facebook, right? Some people, they put pictures when they was young. You don't look like that no more. Why you still sporting that old picture? Because that's how you want to look. They be catfishing people with they old looks. You don't look like that no more. You gained 50 pounds. You fat now. Everything sagging. Right? But verse 20.
Verse 20, giving thanks always for all things unto the Most High, unto God and the Father, in the name of the Lord Yahawashi. Submitting yourselves one to another.
So we got to submit ourselves one to another. Submission doesn't just go one way. Like they used to tell us back in the bootleg church, happy wife, happy life. You got a lot of men submitting to their wives, right? But the wives ain't submitting to the husbands. But the scripture says we have to submit one to another, right? But go ahead.
Giving thanks always, submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of the Most High.
In the fear of the Most High, go ahead.
Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands.
How many times we read that? In different spots? Like 3 or 4 times, right? So it's constantly telling the wives, y'all got to submit. Because it's a hard thing to be done. Because a lot of the women today, y'all been brought up, oh, you don't need no man. You can do bad by yourself. But what the scriptures say, a poor or a rich man, if he do right by the law, by the Most High, he going to be cheerful, right? Because some of y'all women, y'all get these rich men and they ain't doing right by the Most High, and you miserable. But go ahead.
Wives, submit yourself unto your own husband as unto the Lord.
So let's get 1 Peter chapter 3 right quick. Because this is why it's important to do that. And we're going to start at verse 1. We're going to read 1 through 5.
1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 1. Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands.
Wait, there you go again. Be in subjection to your own husband. Go ahead.
That if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives.
So you see how, ladies, y'all see how important it is for y'all to be in subjection to your own husband? Because you ain't even got to speak. And you can win a soul. Or you can turn a soul away from the Most High. Like, I ain't going to True Nation. Them women over there, wow. Them dudes ain't got no control over their wives. I see them brothers be putting in work, but they wives wicked as hell. I'm good. They over there stirring up all types of mess. Just by your actions, you can turn a soul away, and that's blood on your hands. But if you're a righteous woman, y'all going to bring brothers and sisters in. Because y'all in subjection to your own husband, which he's under the authority of Yahawashi. But go ahead.
While they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear.
So not that wild stuff. Oh, girl, you seen such and such, whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah, I know, They so ratchet, this and that, talking about people, backbiting, all that going on. But by your chaste conversation, oh, such and such husband, he was great. Oh, sister so-and-so was awesome. She did a good thing at Tabernacles. You can win souls like that just by your conversation. Because everybody trying to escape somewhere, and they don't want to be in the wickedness no more. Because people got problems at home, they got problems at work, they got problems in the street. But when they come here or they see you at your house, they don't want to hear that same ratchet ghetto stuff, and you're supposed to be a woman of the Lord or a man of the Lord. Go ahead.
Who's adorning, let it not be that with outward adorning of planting the hair and of the wearing of gold, and of the putting on of apparel. But let it be the hidden man of the heart.
So it's talking about your mind. Don't let nobody see you and how you look, but allow them to listen to you and receive the Most High that way. Because you can win souls by your actions, right? Go ahead.
And that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of the Most High, great price.
So you being in a quiet spirit, that's a great thing in the eyes of the Most High. That's like that virtuous woman, right? Go ahead.
For after this manner, in the old time, the holy women also who trusted in the Most High adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands.
So that was their ornament. You know, I got a husband at home. You better go talk to him. I'm not going to deal with you. You got to deal with my husband. That's an honorable thing. In the world today, it's not honorable. You got women popping off, and they want to deal with any and every old body themselves. And they want to deal with it how they want to deal with it. And that's how they blaspheme the Spirit of the Most High and turn people away through their wicked ways. So with that, let's go here. Let's get Proverbs 29 and 18.
Proverbs chapter 29 in verse 18. Where there is no vision, the people perish.
What's our vision, y'all? As a nation, as a whole. What's the vision? Huh? The law, right? But in keeping the law, what's going to happen in us keeping the law? Hopefully we get the kingdom, right? We be put back in our rightful place. But with us being at odds with one another, that's not going to happen. But go ahead, read it.
But he that keepeth the law, happy is he.
So when you keep the law, that's what's going to bring your happiness. Not all the carnal things of the world. So with that, let's go back to Ephesians 5 and 23.
Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 23. For the husband is the head of the wife.
So the husband is the head, right? Go ahead.
Even as Christ is the head of the church.
So Christ is the head of the church. So Christ is over the man. So now we get in that order again. Go ahead.
And he is the Savior of the body.
So Christ is going to save us all. Right? That's why we must be in subjection to one another as unto the Most High. And the wife must be in subjection unto her husband as unto Christ. But go ahead.
Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Mm-hmm. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church.
But the wife has to be subject to her own husband and loving him in everything. And it's a beautiful thing. It's not grievous. That's what makes the nation thrive. That's what makes the household happy. Us keeping these laws together, us dwelling together, us coming together and being one. So with that, I'm going to say all praise to the Most High. And thank y'all for getting his word. And may it resonate in our spirits to love, to trust one another, and the wives to be subject unto their own husbands as unto Christ. Because Christ is the Savior of the body, which is the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. And with that, I say shalom.
production.